So we're going to talk about today image fidelity, and we will be using real images, no nano banana. My name is Majid Ali Khan. I'm a software engineer and working in Onyx Internet from last 9 years and working with Drupal from last roughly 14, 15 years. So the thing is that roughly, if you talk about the images are the largest component in a website, and this is the first thing that users notice consciously, subconsciously. So if you have like good images, it's gonna leave good impression. The problem is that Drupal really doesn't care about images, and I'm going to explain why. So we have like normally these three methods to process images. One, PHP GD, everybody knows that. It comes with the Drupal. It's almost zero configuration needed, but it's a very simple tool. It provides one global quality settings that you can configure, and that's it. Then we have ImageMagick. It's more a bit of a professional tool. It provides lots of options, and you can process images using different algorithms, different tools, and all sort of like things that you can do with the images. It provides you. Then we have CDNs. If you do not want to process images on your server, you want to offload them, you usually use this option. They usually come pre-configured, and there's not much room for you to change something. And so I'm not going to talk about the CDNs today. Focus will remain on the PHP GD and the ImageMagick. So what's PHP GD? We talked about it, that it's a default PHP library, and Drupal uses it in default to process images. And it requires zero configuration almost. Though it's low, it takes a lot of memory to process the images, but it does okay job. I mean, like most of the cases, it get it covered. So that's why it's been used widely. But there are many limitations with using PHP GD. Two main issues that you will see. So I will explain it later. So basically now we have, as I explained before, we have a global quality setting which is default set to 80, and 80 is not 80 for all the image formats. Now we have like WebP is a standard now, and AVIF is coming new in the market. So if you compare the image qualities, the 60 to 65 quality generated image is equal to 80 in WebP and 80 roughly in JPEG. So, I mean, that's a standard, but the problem is that PHP GD gives you a global setting. It doesn't let you configure quality settings by different types of images on your website. So, yeah. So, to fix this problem, a couple of years ago, I created a patch in Drupal core to introduce extra configuration that allows you to configure WebP quality. Even if you want to set it lossless, then you can do that. Patch is still in progress. Many people are working on it, but the thing is, I thought like that fixed the problem. I mean, like we can still manage the quality, so yeah, it should work. But sometime later, I found out that no, it's not enough. We still having some images quality issue, and some of the clients also reported that. So I looked a little bit into that, and then find out the problem is the engine that we're using, which is PHP GD, and there are two major problems that it has. It produces soft and dull images. It wipes out the color from the image, and two main reasons for that is that First, it strips out all the metadata that the images have, the color profile that it has. And then second is the resampling method. So the PHP GD always use bicubic resampling method. And by the way, we use resampling method whenever we use the image styles. And we often use image style in Drupal. And so because of these two things, we always get soft and dull images. And yeah, I mean, there are some settings in PHP GD that allows you to make it like fine-tune a little bit, but the problem with the Drupal is that the module doesn't expose those settings, like the toolkit that we're using. Then we have ImageMagick. So it provides a lot of options, like you have like all new different kind of image format supported. It provides different encoding methods. It provides a lot of resampling algorithms. It provides a lot of things that you can do with the metadata and the color profile, blah, blah, blah. But I found some gaps in the module as well. So what ImageMagick gives you is a big argument field, and basically it tells you, go figure yourself out what you want to put in. And there are like so many arguments if you check the documentation of the ImageMagick, and there are so many variations that you can use. It's not literally possible to use that field for some useful purposes. And I can tell you some, for example. Yeah, this is, so for example, you want to set a resampling method to something Lanczos. And, but how would you know that your server has that Lanczos, and which version do you have? And in order to know that, you need to go to your server, SSH, find out the version, and then go back to the UI and then put it there. That actually kills the purpose of providing a UI. So to fix these issues, I made a patch, another one to ImageMagick. So my idea is that, yeah, there are so many settings that you cannot provide a UI for all those settings. It's quite impossible. But at least there are some that are really meaningful, and I think they should be there. And by using those, you can really enhance the quality of your image and also by keep reducing the size of the image. And some of those are like resampling filters, rendering intent, stripping metadata, and so I put those in like in an advanced tab, as you can see. What this resampling field does, what I've implemented. Sorry, I think I missed this line, or did I? Yeah, here. Sorry. I messed up with the slide, sorry. So basically what I implemented is that like you probe your server and you get all the resampling filters that are installed on your server or machine and then list them down in a field. And that's why you can be like 100% sure if this resampling method is available on your machine or not. There are many popular ones, Lanczos, for instance, but nowadays, because like in social media, people are using really vivid and vibrant color images and really sharp images. So Lanczos Sharp is being used widely, and this image kernel Sharp 2021. By the way, this is the one that Facebook and Instagram is using for their images. So these are the options I think users should have to configure, to be able to configure and produce the images. No, sorry, I need to go back. Yeah, then what I did is kind of similar. Like I used three main of our web extensions like JPEG, WebP, and AVIF, and created configurations tab in the module UI. And JPEG basically, when you go into JPEG, it allows you to configure quality for the JPEG. For the WebP, so if you have noticed, the WebP images also becomes a little bit softer, and that's because of the the algorithm that Google has produced, it's mainly produced or like developed for the videos, but now it's been used for the images as well. And the underlying mechanism is that like it somehow makes the images more soft. So basically, there is a method you can use sharp YUV, and that basically enhance the little bit of this lost sharpness in the images. Autofilter you can use to autofilter and encoding method. Basically, these are two things that you can use. Okay, I don't want to rush down and don't want to quickly produce an image, and the encoder should take a time and give me the best output. If you set it, let's say, a value to 0, that means that you want the slowest output, but you want the best quality and the best size. And then encoder basically will work on it, a little bit slower obviously, but it will produce a better result. Similarly with the autofilter. And the image hint also is important, because you are basically telling the encoder what images are. Like, are these photographs, are these graphics or whatnot? And if you have a hint or you know it, I think you should tell the encoder, and that will produce slightly better images if you don't tell it or go default. And AVIF is a new format in the images. And basically, I encourage everybody to use AVIF because of several reasons. Yeah, like the quality setting and the encoding setting is the same as I mentioned before, but it has like I added two different things. One is the color bit depth and the chroma subsampling. And the reason is that like the AVIF allows that. And people who knows that, like who have like professional cameras or the phones that can take now the pictures with the really good colors, like up to 12 bits or even more, you can now upload an AVIF and you can preserve those colors. I mean, still it doesn't make any sense for the web to go beyond 10, but having a default set to 8, I think it's not enough. And there should be an option, if your images are 10 bits and you really want to see those colors, you should be able to preserve those colors. And the chroma subsampling, this is also related to color. It's like a method of picking up the colors, and a default is, as I mentioned, I set to 420, but if you set it to 422 or 444, then you will get like perfectly nice colors that is in your source image. So, in my opinion, these settings or these options are the bare minimum that should be there for the user to be able to configure everything. Giving them just like an argument field and telling them just go figure it out, it's not good. Yeah, I said it already. So yeah, because the projectors are not really good for showing you the output, and which I really want you to. So if anybody wants to do like pixel peeping and really want to show the or see the real outcome, you can scan it. If you're logged in with the Google Docs, or no, sorry, Google with your Google account, then you should be able to access my slides. And yeah, I don't know, I cannot see that, but the GD is like softer, and you can see the, I'm not sure if you can really see that, but if you'll see it on your screens, you can see that the red becomes a little bit orange. The colors are wiped out, and yeah, like the other image is like much sharper than this one. And if you little bit zoom it in, then you can see that like the text and everything, and the color red is red and the yellow is yellow, where the GD is just like losing everything and making things softer. You can see that like the 27 is like becoming softer on the corners, and this 27 on the other side, it's really sharp. Like black is black, white is white. You can see the real contrast. Same. The typical issue with the GD, it's losing color because it's stripping away the color profile from the images. and making the image softer. You can see the other side, it's making the images much vivid, or like, at least it's like, it's keeping the original color and the sharpness. Same issue, you can see the green color. If you notice that the green is not green in PHP GD. It becomes like light green or something like that. And because this photo, I've taken this photo, and this is taken on my phone, and I was experimenting with different pictures, like my cell phone photos and using different cameras, for instance. This one I noticed, like, yeah, it's green. Green is like obvious, like you can see that like it's getting lighter. It's not the green that I clicked. Same with the issue with the yellow. Yellow becomes a lot limeish, or like light yellow in the PHP GD. And if you zoom in, you can see the color of the cloths, and the black is lost, brown is lost. And the face is like really soft. You can see the skin tone and the skin and the face. It's not soft in GD, and while in ImageMagick it's a bit better. Yeah, this one is like interesting because this is taken from a professional Canon camera, and it originally had 16 bits of colors and 444 subsampling. And you can now see that clearly what PHP GD did with the image. It just like made the red something like maroon or I don't know what. And it's just like, if you notice other thing, that part of the image is really soft and like a little bit blurry. And that's because of the resampling. It's using a very simple bicubic algorithm which takes 4 by 4 pixel and tries to resample the images. And because of that, images become much softer, and this one is like much cleaner. Another thing that you can notice is that the size is reduced in ImageMagick. Why? Because we don't want to keep all the metadata. We just want to keep the ones that we need, like colors and orientation of the image. But like what camera was used and some other stuff like focal length, etc., you typically don't need when you upload an image. And if you remove that, you can compensate for the size that you are adding up by using or keeping the image profile. Because if you don't do that, usually these images will be slightly larger than the images produced on GD, and everybody will say, why it's that? Because the GD is stripping out straight away all the metadata that the images have, while in ImageMagick, you're trying to preserve as much as you can. And it's smart to actually not strip out everything, but only the stuff that you really don't need. And I've shown before that I've added a setting for that as well. So yeah, takeaway. So I would encourage that we should use the latest formats because it provides you much options. You can play around and tweak the settings of the image. Start with a good source. So if you choose a bad source and upload it, no resampling method or no algorithm is going to fix your image unless you use an AI or something like that. But the point is that the data lost in the image is data lost, so you cannot recover it. So better to use the good source and then upload it and then process that image and make your derivatives from that. Choose sharp resampling filters. Now, even though Lanczos is being set as default in ImageMagick, it's my personal opinion. I felt that the sharper images and the colorful images look nicer to your eyes. That's why everywhere in social media, they're using a little bit algorithms that are like sharpening the image. Not too much, not too aggressive, but like a little bit. So you should be able to use those filters with this and use the ones that are like that good for your need. And yeah, like metadata, like keep whatever you need, but just don't throw it out right away by using GD. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please, you can ask.
Thank you for the session. I understand that it's probably slower on the server to compress these images and preserve the data, but what about the performance on the target device, like lower-end mobile? Is there any impact if I use like better images?
So by keeping the color profile and the other data, it's not how browser process images. For browser, the only thing matters is the size. So if you are keeping those information in the image, yet producing a smaller image, your image will load faster in browser. For browser, it doesn't matter like how your server side is handling the images. Only thing it cares about is the size.
So what do you do with the original image that you uploaded? Do you do some processing on that also, because you don't want to save 100 gigs images there?
So no, I didn't upload the raw image files. It doesn't make any sense to eat your server by just uploading those huge images. You can if you have like raw images, you can use any tool like Photoshop or GIMP in Linux, for instance, and export those images in a new format. Like if you can export them in TIFF or AVIF format, you can preserve the colors and the color profile when you're exporting them, while keeping the size minimum. So if, for instance, I showed you this image, this last one. I think the original size of this image was around 15 MB after I exported it from the Photoshop. So no, yeah, don't upload the raw. Just use the new formats. So anyone else? No? Okay. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.